Good morning, y'all. Once again, we still from the hood to South Africa. We at day number 7, y'all. Hope y'all been enjoying the experience with us so far. We still got about one more day to go. You know what I'm saying? So today we're going back to the township of Langa. We're gonna check out 1 or 2 more historical spots. Let me see what we can learn about today. Good morning, brother. Hey. Right now we'll catch the bus. Make it downtown to Long Street again. But I hope everybody enjoying so far the educational pieces. Make sure you like, subscribe, share all our material. Because the world got to know, fam. What's really going on in Africa. From the hood to South Africa. I'm signing out. One love. Peace, y'all. Live and direct. Right now we're waiting for the bus to come. Still here on Long Street. Getting ready to go to the hood once again, Lingo, and hang out with the peoples again for a few minutes to see what we can learn. Also, I get some souvenirs and stuff for the family, you know what I mean? It's all good. But we're gonna see what's going on around here, and see what's up. Alright, family, see how people's out in the street sleeping. Shit is real. Right here in Africa. You know what I'm saying? We're getting ready to go right to the hood again. Try to get a different ghetto pass going back to Langa. This time we'll get more insight of what's going on in there. Some good history of it. You feel? Last time we walked through with my man. You know what I'm saying? But this time we're gonna walk around with a tour guide. You feel? Alright, family, let's keep it moving. Find out how we get around this place. Come.
So this gentleman will be the one taking you to the 3 different areas throughout the township. He will be taking you to different areas in the township, and he'll be showing you the historical background, how the township came upon existence, and how the township are today. Remember, guys, we are visiting 2 different townships. The first township will be Langa. Langa, which means the sun. And then the second township will of course be Yethu, which basically means a place of pride or our pride. Now in Yethu we don't have a walk, we have just a drive-through passing 2 monuments, Yethu 7 and a young American student monument whom was killed in that area in 1993. And lastly but not least, visiting a local famous restaurant which is named Mzoli's. But in Langa, the first township that you are visiting, that's where your walk will be situated, where you'll be visiting the Dompas office, where you'll be visiting an area which is called Guga's Tebe, and also you'll be seeing the 3 different classes within the township. The upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. And the gentleman will be showing you also the N2 Gateway project, even the Sobuke Square where it's situated. Remember also, in and around the spaces of Langa, you'll also be shown the barracks which were constructed for migrant laborers during the olden days in and around that township. And also past Brenda Fassy's house. Brenda Fassy will of course be one of our late Madonnas whom was situated in that township. Yes. Thank you very much, my beautiful.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Names.
Yes, I was gonna come to that point now. My name, I was just giving my intro, and remember when I start speaking, I speak non-stop. So my name is Thobela.
Thobela.
Thobela. It's a Xhosa word which basically means respect. And I myself, born and raised in the countryside in a place called Capetown, but grew up in the 2nd township, which is called Yethu. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
And the driver?
He will then give himself over, and then when I throw the towel to him, he'll be telling you the historical background and his name and everything, all in one. So we can start also by introducing ourselves. We can start from the guest at the back, going towards the front.
Yeah, so these are some of the original structures which are still remaining, including the guest house right at the corner on the right hand side. So this area used to be a mixed community. Mixed community. They all used to live together in this area, peacefully and harmoniously. But before I dwell much, I would like to explain to you two guys when I said color. Here, colored people are different from black people, or are classified different. And I believe in the US and in other parts of the world, it is not politically correct, the term itself, colored. So here we have colored people, and they are lawfully called colored. On the right hand side, these two ladies, they are colored. So they will normally have long hair as white people, and they will be light in complexion. So there's no offense or any harm done when they are called colored, okay? But they are classified different from black people, okay? So that mixture of community was then brought to an end in the year of 1901.
1901, okay.
Yes, 1901 there was a disease that broke out from the harbor, which we know as waterfront today. And the name of the disease is well known as the plague, bubonic plague. Some other people may know it as the Black Death or the pest. So black people were working the unskilled labor in the harbor as they were denied better education. So unfortunately, they were the first people to be infected with the disease, and they were blamed to be the carriers of the disease. So that resulted to all of the Africans, including those ones that were not yet infected, being forcibly removed from District 6 by the authorities, with their family homes demolished. So the vacant land that you saw in District 6, some of their houses were situated right in that area. So they were moved 8 to 9 kilometers away from the city to a farm that is called Ndabeni. Ndabeni can be a Xhosa name or a Zulu name as well, because the two languages are similar and they share same words with same meanings. So Ndabeni means the news. So that is where black people were placed. And when they were placed in that farm, they were given military tents to live in, whereas they were removed from proper houses in District 6 with no proper sanitation such as running water. So they depended on a river which is called the Black River as their only source of water, staying there from 1901 until 1918. So that is approximately 17 years. So in 1918, another disease broke out, but which was an international outbreak because it was all over the world, known as the Spanish flu or the Spanish influenza. So it happened that they got infected with that disease while they were living in that farm of Ndabeni. So after they got infected with the Spanish flu, and as the Spanish flu did throughout the whole world, it claimed many lives in Ndabeni as well. So then again, the Africans that were living in those tents in Ndabeni were then forcibly removed again from that farm to 2 more kilometers away from the city to another farm, which was where the township was actually planned, which is Langa. That is how it basically came upon existence. But I'll continue with that.
That was a farmland at one time.
Yes, sir. On the left-hand side, can you see the big building? That is a hospital, well known as the Hout, which is where the first human heart transplant was performed. The first one in the whole globe. Not the first one in Capetown or in South Africa, the first one in the whole world. It was performed in that hospital in 1967 on the 3rd of December by Dr. Christian Barnard. But what was kept as a secret is that when Dr. Barnard was performing the heart transplant, he had an assistant, a black gentleman from Langa Township, who was equally involved on that heart transplant, who goes by the name of Hamilton Naki.
Hamilton.
That's his
Hamilton.
name. Yes. Surname is Naki. N-A-K-I. Yes. So the black gentleman originally was a gardener at that hospital, but he became good friends with a veterinarian, an animal doctor from Germany who goes by the name of Dr. Ian Foots, who then trained the gardener how to do operations and experiments on animals. Mostly he used to teach him on a pig, and it was then discovered also the heart of a pig is similar to the heart of a human being. So that is where the gardener got experience from. Unfortunately, we were already in the apartheid era in 1967, so black people were still denied better education. So there was no way he could have became a doctor or a surgeon or whatever profession. So he was never publicized or mentioned because he was not a medical doctor and because of the color of his skin. Okay?
He was actually black.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll be holding that thought for a sec.
Right.
I want to show you guys the Black River.
Black. Oh, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Can you see the board 9B?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pointing to the left direction? Next to it is a small board with the name Black.
Ah.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, yeah.
So this is the symbol of the Black River, which black people were using as their only source of water, while they were placed in this area on the left hand side. The grass and trees, that is the first black location, not a township, because it wasn't properly planned. So after they were forcefully removed here in 1918, immediately this whole section was converted into an industrial area, and it was also one of the places that were regarded to be for whites only.
All this area is now for
Yes, sir.
white.
It's now called Pinelands. So they have private hospitals in it. A golf park. Next to the golf park will be a City Lodge Hotel and golf course. And
Oh,
over
yeah, I
the golf course will be suburb houses.
So they
But
live in
there is a train station which is still called Ndabeni, and one of their main roads is known as Ndabeni Road. Other than that, it was renamed to Pinelands. Yes. So back to the black gentleman
Right.
who was a gardener. Yes, sir. So he passed away 2005.
Oh, recently.
Yes, and then before he passed away, they made an interview with him, whereby they ended up creating a documentary about the black gentleman, which is called The Hidden Heart.
The hidden heart.
Hidden Heart, or
Okay.
What Lord Made. They made a documentary about the gentleman, and the person who plays the character of Hamilton Naki is the American rapper Mos Def.
Oh, yeah. Most of it, I remember that. I didn't get to see that movie yet.
He plays
I heard
the
about
character of that gentleman. So on that
That's what that
documentary,
movie
you get
is.
the details about Mr. Hamilton Naki.
I gotta go see that as soon as I get back.
And then apartheid, the legislation, which was made official in 1948, they started to remove all the other non-whites that were living in District 6. Remember, District 6 was a mixed community. First inhabited to be forcefully removed were black people. So all the other people were not forcibly removed, and they were only removed when apartheid was made lawfully. So people were placed according to their own areas based on the color of their skin, their religious beliefs, and the language that they spoke. Because remember, the term or the name itself, apartheid, it means segregation. in that very same area. That's how.
Forcefully though, right?
No, not at all. All the other race were never victims of apartheid legislation. So these highways, railway roads, river bands, and small roads were used to separate these different townships. As a result of that, paying attention on the far right, that is a colored community called Athlone. Yes. And that's the football stadium right over there that you see with those 4 big poles.
Oh, that's a big city. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yes. So that is a colored community back in the apartheid days. This is Langa on the left. As we'll be brushing on the left, we'll be making our way into Langa.
Oh, this is Langa.
Yes, this is Langa, the first black properly planned township. So black people who were living in Langa were not allowed to cross over the highway and be in a colored community during the apartheid years. It was considered trespassing, and they would be arrested and prosecuted just for being in a colored area.
So this would be the Langa Stadium, so to speak.
This is yes, a multi-indoor sport complex.
So that's pretty much their Coliseum. Just like theirs across the street, so to speak.
Not really. This one is indoor, so they would normally play indoor football or basketball as well. Sometimes even netball or hockey. And then we do have their own outdoor stadium, which is they have a football stadium. They have which is the first township, where we will have a walk. So, the first houses to be built in this township by the authorities were often called the 99-year lease. 99-year lease, it basically meant the people living in these houses were meant to rent these houses for 99 years before they were given the title deeds or the ownership of the houses. Yes.
Second generation.
And the worst part about it is the second generation that you are mentioning, they won't continue from the years that their parents paid for. When their parents pass away, if they paid for 50 or 60 years, those years go down the drain.
What?
The children will have to start all over again.
So somebody got to actually live to be 100 years old.
100 and something years old, because you won't start working from birth or something.
Right.
Because you have to start working.
Beautiful law, eh?
That is crazy.
They asked me the other day if I want a discount, bring my grandfather income.
Wow.
So the thing is, it was just basically one of the ways to show or tell black people that they will never own anything.
Right.
Yes, sir. So remember, the apartheid legislation, the main aim was to oppress black people.
Right.
As they were denied better education, denied better places to live in, denied health facilities as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But in a way, a number of residents found ways to get their title deeds. I'm not sure how, but the rest were given their title deeds only in 1994, when South Africa became a democratical country. So that is when most of them started to renovate their homes, extend them, change the color of the paint, as well as to fence them.
Okay, I see.
Yes,
Okay.
but mostly before 1994, they were not allowed to do anything with these houses.
Couldn't paint them, couldn't do any type of upgrade whatsoever.
They didn't own them. They were meant to pay rent. In fact, they were paying rent. So they were not allowed to do anything.
May I ask who they maybe paying the rent to?
Come again?
Who was they paying?
The authorities.
The authorities.
And then there's another law that was implemented. So apartheid basically had been existing, but only in 1948 they made it lawful. And then they introduced more laws and more acts to go together with the legislation.
So they don't have what's called landlords here, so to speak. Like back home, and we had like landlords that owns the property or
Not
whatever.
really. It was
So the
authorities,
authorities own.
yes.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So one of the laws that was introduced is called the Dompas.
The dumpas.
Dompas.
Dompas.
Yes, it was more like an internal passport or internal passbook, but it was called Dompas. Dom is the Afrikaans or a Dutch word which means stupid or dumb. So they were referring to black people as dumb people or stupid people, whereby they had to carry these Dompasses all the time. And they had to regularly renew it. I think 4 months, 3 or 4 months. Every 3 or 4 months.
Every 3 or 4 months, you gotta renew
Yes,
it. It's the same pass.
Yes, and when you renew it, it's money. So they were basically taxed twice for living in Cape Town and paying for those Dompas when they had to renew them. So almost half of their income was going back to the very same people that gave them those income.
And this went
1990. The Dompas laws were abolished in 1986.
1986. Wow.
Yes, sir. When they were formally introduced in 1952.
That's not too long ago.
So on our right hand side, these are social houses.
Social houses.
Yes, sir. Which were built by the government for as low cost houses.
We call them like apartment buildings.
Yes, sir. So the residents
Social
of this
houses.
township decided to rename these houses after Mr. Hamilton Naki, who was part of the heart transplant. Looking on the right hand side, on the wall,
Hamilton Naka. I see.
Hamilton Naki Square.
Yeah.
So the residents renamed these houses after the gentleman in his honor. Since he was never publicized or given recognition.
I see the heart on there too.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'll just make a U-turn here so that you can get a clear picture. Because I don't want to block the traffic.
Traffic, yes. So these houses right here that we looking at, they look like they've been remodeled a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So they must own some of this, huh?
Yes, sir. These were the houses that were built. But we still do have some of the original structures that I will get to show you. So you can take the picture of Hamilton Naki. Is it a good spot for everyone?
Yes.
You can tell me when you're done. The tree that you see is often called the tree of life, since the gentleman was a gardener at first.
And you said that's the movie with Most Def in it.
Yes,
Everybody
Most Def
needs to
basically
see it.
plays the main character of the gentleman.
I did not know that was what that movie was about.
Okay.
You got the picture, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
All right.
Okay.
Simply, just tell me something. Hamilton now, what have they done on their side for Hamilton?
Who?
Have they given him any exposure? Krutskier, the hospital?
I don't think so. Not that I heard of. Never heard of any.
Alright. Okay.
So I would like you to look on the right hand side. The Fanta fence.
Yeah.
Next to it, up to house number 55. Those will be the original sizes and the original structures of the 99-year lease houses.
Oh.
As you can
Up to
see, them
55,
with
I
different
see.
colors. Each of them has a door. So those are the original sizes of the houses that were given.
How many rooms in there, man?
It only consisted of 2 rooms.
2 rooms. Wow.
Yes.
Like for the kitchen and everything else.
One sleeping bedroom, 1 living room combined with the kitchen.
Oh, it's literally 2 rooms.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And then usually they would have a toilet right at the back of the house.
Right.
And then looking at these two houses, 1, 2.
Okay.
These ones are called the open yards.
Open yard houses.
Yes, sir. So the open yard usually have a bigger space, same as the corner house. So when it comes to extension, they can extend 4 ways. They can extend to the front, the side, back, and up.
And up. Okay.
Yes.
Up to how far? And do they have laws as far
I
as
think
how
double
high?
story.
3 stories is the law.
3-story. I've never seen a 3-story. Usually it's double story.
2-story, gotcha.
And then I'll just show you now a typical example of the ones of the corner house or open yard, including the ones that are in the middle. Can you see on the right hand side?
Yeah.
This one, they only extended back, front and up. On the side, it's
Oh
a
yeah,
neighbor.
it's 2.
On the other side, it's another neighbor. So there's no way they can extend on the side because they are just divided by a wall with each other.
Look like all them got burnt down or something, yeah?
Yes, sir. So the residents that are living in Hamilton Naki Square
Naki
were
Square.
removed from these houses on the right hand side.
Oh wow, they just caught on fire or something, no?
Not really.
No?
Yes, they were shooting a movie. There was a film crew that were shooting a movie, so they spray painted the houses with a black paint
Oh, they
to
shoot.
make it look like they were burnt down. They were not burnt down, they were just demolished.
Oh, gotcha. What was the name of the movie?
I'm not sure. I
Not
don't
sure,
wanna lie.
not sure.
Why did they remove them from here and put them in the Hamilton Street?
To give them more than enough space, since we have a lot of family members. We have a very huge family structure.
Yes, extended family.
Yes, as black folks.
Upgrade,
And you
upgrade.
may probably know that most of us, as the Xhosa tribe, originate from the Eastern Cape. So in the Eastern Cape, which is 1,000 kilometers away from where we are, there's no much developments. There's no much job opportunities. There's no much better schools. So usually people would migrate this side to search for better education for their children and search for better job opportunities.
In here?
Yes, in the city of Cape Town.
Okay, in City Cape.
So in the whole Western Cape, the majority of black people would be Xhosa. And even the ones that are not coming from the Xhosa tribe, they would be speaking Xhosa, since they are in an area which is dominated by Xhosa speaking people.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So if they wanted to extend these houses back in the olden days, they were allowed to, but they were only allowed to extend them with these informal settlements, which is you extend it by wood or by zinc.
Zinc?
Yeah. So that whenever you decide to move out or to go back to the village, they will just demolish the shanty and the house is still as is. Yes, sir.
Well, with the tops, I mean, I see they got the tops. I heard the tops of the houses.
They have what?
And the tops of the houses, what they use for the tops of the
That's
houses?
asbestos.
This is
Yeah,
asbestos.
asbestos.
Yes.
Ain't that dangerous?
No, it used to be, but
It
now
is.
it's a health, it's been declared
It's
world.
and what do you call this? You're not supposed to have it, but they leave these houses like that.
These are
But
the-
old homes were.
The new ones are now.
Now it's not allowed. But that's
You want-
asbestos. It did cause respiratory problems.
Breathing, yeah, lungs, okay.
And it catches a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Oh, easy to
Because
catch a
the
fire.
chemistry is not right.
Yes. And then
Oh,
on the
wow.
right hand side, you see how big this house is?
Yes.
It's almost like the size of a church. And those are the modern roofing that they use.
Facility.
That look like made from more brick or something.
Yes.
It looks like a Trump house.
Right.
So this one,
Donald's come look.
he extended back, front, side, but he didn't extend up. And then the middle house, which is the double story,
Yes.
they extended back, front, and up, which is the only extension they can do. The
Back,
small
front,
house
yeah.
next to it is separate from that one. It's a different family.
Oh, okay, but they
Yeah,
connected
it's not the
together, but
Just
different
divided by a
families.
wall.
Oh, wall, gotcha.
Just divided by a wall. And as my colleague had mentioned to you, today we have 3 different classes in the township. Upper class, middle class, and lower class. So these would be the houses that would be regarded as the lower class.
Right across the street.
Yes, sir. So these houses, the residents
Jimmy Logan.
built them by themselves
Gotcha.
illegally. Yes. But there was one of the rights that was introduced, which is called the Bill of Rights under Section 25D, which states that if you are a group of people vacating a land that is owned by the government, the authorities only have 48 hours to remove you if you have built those kind of houses. Failure to remove you within 48 hours, the authorities can't kick you out of the land.
Oh, wow.
A group of people. Instead, they'll have to provide you guys with what we call the squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights.
Yes.
Yeah, we got squatters in United States.
The squatters' rights here consist of the bucket system toilets, which are the mobile dixies, and central points of water, whereby people have to go and get water by buckets because those structures don't have running taps inside them. So water for them is free, clean, purified, safe to drink also. They don't pay for water and they're not paying any rent.
Okay.
Electricity installed by the government, which is a prepaid method. It's more like airtime. The more you use, the more you have to purchase.
Wow, okay.
And then on the right hand side, can you see that small room, which is white? Right by the black rubbish bin, with number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
That white structure is the toilet. That's the size of the toilet.
Oh, wow. Well, people got to share that toilet, yeah?
Yes, sir. As a family.
As a family, okay.
Yes, sir.
And this everybody that's in that little section right there. Or what?
Those shanties that you see are in somebody's yard. So they built those shanties for their family members. And then some of them would allow people to go build shanties and pay rent as landlords.
Right, they call shanties? That's what
Yes, they are called shanties. In our language, we call it umjondo or amajojombe. Yes. And then in front of us is the cemetery of Langa Township. Over the fence at the cemetery, there is a railway road which separates Pinelands to Langa. And the cemetery, that's where they pay their last respects. A number of people do their burials at that cemetery. And this facility over here, this is a Methodist church.
Oh, that's a church.
So we have a lot of churches in this township. As a result of that, in most black townships, Christianity dominates. So here they have over 18 churches. Yes, over 18 churches. And different churches: Apostolics, Sabbath, Catholics, Jehovah Witness, and the newly developed churches with newly given names. Some of them would be called the African Gospel Church. Some of them would be called Finger of God Ministries, Rafa Fellowship Center. It depends what they call the church. So there's another one on the left and another church on the right hand side.
Oh, wow.
So 60 to 65% of the population, they go to church.
65% go to church.
Yes, sir. Even though we still perform our cultural practice, which we still do and perform. And when it comes to schools, this township has a total of 8 schools.
8 schools?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
4 primary schools and 4 high schools. So when a child is born, it depends on you as a parent if you want to take your child to kindergarten or keep your child at home. So the kindergartens are privately owned. The parents have to pay every month.
Oh, wow.
And then it's schools. Schools here in the township, most of them are owned by the government. Parents pay no school fees. School is subsidized by the government. Only thing that the parents do is to buy school uniform. Because each school will normally have its own uniform. So some other schools would normally have the same color of school uniform, but it will definitely have a different pattern in decoration of the school uniforms. This is one of the primary schools on the right hand side. And as you can see them playing on the outside, it's lunch time. No? 11 o'clock, the bell will ring. Back to the classroom.
Yeah, okay.
When was the school constructed there?
Come again?
When was the school made?
It's one of the old,
Is it one of the old ones?
yes ma'am. Almost all the schools are very old here. You must remember, since Langa was the first township to be established. And in fact, Langa has the oldest black high school in the entire